Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This can be a review for Awkward Season 4, Episode 8, Prison Breaks. And this episode was another fantastic episode. I was really looking forward to it because of the end of last week's episode. I was like, oh wow, we're getting a part 2 this episode. Because basically, if you think about it, this episode was kind of just one long episode. I feel like if this episode was an hour, then this would be one big episode. Because I feel like it should have been one of those episodes they showed back to back, but because of faking it, which I do not like faking it, I'll admit that right now, I do not like faking it, I don't think it's a good show, it's really boring, I don't like it. But because of that show, they can't do back to back, unfortunately, which I just hope faking it gets canceled, because Awkward is so much better. This episode, though, was probably the second best episode of the season. I will admit there were some things this episode that were a little bit filler, you know, sometimes Awkward can have those filler type episodes. Which, honestly, that was not a problem for me with this episode. I did think the thing that was filler was kind of stupid, and we will get to that. It was not as bad as Crowning Moments, which was the most filler episode of the season so far. But, you know, this is the... We have 2 episodes left after this episode, so big things happened, and a lot of big things happened in this episode, so let's just get to it, because I really, really enjoyed it. So, basically, last week, Jenna, Tamara, and Sadie went to that BFF with Eva, Matty, and Jake, and of course, they decide to abandon them because they want to have their own kind of, like, girls' night out. Because, you know, Sadie got her heart broken, Austin broke up with her, so she got her heart broken, so she's heartbroken right now. Jenna wants to see Luke because she's focusing 100% on Luke because she doesn't have any feelings for Matty, she's officially over him. And Tamara just wants a hookup, that's what she cares about, so... They decide to go over to the college, and Sadie does not want to be there. Sadie says, no, I don't want to be here, and I don't think it's so much that she doesn't want to be here, it's that she doesn't want to have a good time, because she just got her heart broken, obviously, so she doesn't want to have a good time at all at this party, which, you know, with them, it's kind of sad, but they, unfortunately, decide to leave her, and they go over to the college. Tamara's hoping it's going to be a really fun time. And, as soon as they get there, they see Luke, and he, is in bed, you know, his shirt's off, and this girl is with him, and this moment, you know, they showed this moment in the promo last week, and I was just like, oh my god, do not ruin Luke's character, because Luke is probably, like, the nicest character we've had on the show so far. He's the most perfect character on the show so far. He has not done anything wrong. He's such a gentleman to literally everyone around him, and I was really hoping they would not ruin his character, which luckily they didn't. It turns out that, you know, they make false assumptions right away. Tamara's like, alright, if you did this to my best friend, you cannot do that to me, and whoever you are, I want you out of here right now. It was really funny when Tamara reacted that way. That was definitely really funny. It turns out that that girl is actually just his best friend, and she's also a lesbian, so that's an important character that we'll get to when we get to Tamara's plot, but... you know, that was definitely, pretty funny there. But overall, Jenna, you know, the big thing that Jenna wants to do, she just wants to have a fun time with her boyfriend. Because she wants to have a nice, time with her boyfriend. Because she wants to have a fun time. Because, of course, last week, she, you know, the night so far, she's not had a good night so far. She's not had a fun night. Because it's just made her recall, not getting over Matty. And she doesn't want that. She doesn't want to get over Matty. So, obviously, that's a pretty big thing. She doesn't want to get over Matty, you know, she's over Matty now, so she wants to prove to herself that she is over Matty, and that's what she wants to do. She wants to just be with her boyfriend right now, the person that she truly does care about. So he, unfortunately, you know, has to study for midterms, of course, and, you know, she just wants to have a fun night with him, and, you know, they're trying to have fun and everything. She's trying to have, you know, make out with him and everything. They end up locking themselves out because they don't take their phones with them for some reason, which, by the way, when would you at a party not have your phone with you? That is a horrible decision, and it's just like, no, not a good idea at all. And obviously, it's a very, you know, kind of like sentimental time for Jen because that's the first time she met Luke. And basically, Jen and Luke are now locked out of the college thing. And basically, because of this, the college room, so because of that, you know, they're kind of stuck there, and Luke starts to panic. He gets a little upset, and Jenna thinks it's her fault. She's like, oh, so you're just upset with me because I'm in high school. And, you know, she snaps him and says, well, look, if you have a problem with me being in high school, then whatever. but you can't have a problem with me. And he says, no, that's not it at all. And here's where we really get to see that just Luke is a very emotional character. He really is, and I like that about his character. He's very emotional, and we see that right here, which I really do like. And he's very emotional in this scene right now. I think it's definitely really good. We see that he says, look, you might think of me as this really perfect guy who is really lovable in high school and just has a lot of fun, kind of like Matty, you know, because he knows that she previously dated Matty, and of course, you know, she knows that she's used to someone like that, so, and the thing is, Jenna, he's not Matty. You can't make him Matty, and if you really care about this guy, then you have to accept him for that, which luckily she did, but he tells her that, you know, when things like this come along, he gets very, like, kind of dorky, as he called it, very stressed out, and that's why he's so concerned, because he gets very stressed out, and it means a lot to him to study for this midterm. It means a lot to him, and she can't, you know, he's very stressed out over it. So, that was a pretty interesting thing there, and Jenna says, alright, then I'm going to help you, and I'm glad that Jenna wanted to help him, because obviously she wants to, because she cares so much about him. It just shows how much Jenna cares about Luke, and she decides to help him, but then he kisses her and tells her, you know, why don't we just have some fun, and they decide to have some fun, and they end up sleeping together on the roof. So that was kind of cute, and that was Jenna's plot. There is a little bit more that Jenna did in this episode, which I'll get to, but in order for us to do that, we have to go into the prison plot, which by far the prison stuff in this episode was amazing. I love the prison stuff in this episode. It was probably the best part of the entire episode. I absolutely loved everything that was going on with all the prison in this episode. And basically, as we know, Matty and Jake, you know, were arrested last week for being in prison. As we know, they were arrested for that, and they were arrested for underage drinking. Or actually, they were kind of arrested because Matty was literally like being a douchebag to that one guy. So obviously, they had to be arrested. They had no other choice. But basically, basically what ended up happening and was that they check in there, they think everything's gonna be okay. Matty's very calm, and he's like, oh, it's gonna be fine. And they find out that there are these really big guys there. And you know what, this reminded me really of Orange is the New Black, which I will review Orange is the New Black for you guys on tomorrow, because the second season comes out Friday, so I'm gonna watch the first episode Friday. More about that later, but I kept thinking this is like Orange is the New Black, basically. It really was, but you know, they were locked in this prison, and they realized that, you know, Jake realizes, hey, don't we have one phone call? Let's try to use that one phone call. And he says, okay, who do we know? Whose number do we have memorized? And he says Jenna, and he says, no, I am not calling Jenna. I would rather die in prison than call Jenna right now. And Matty's kind of realizing that Jenna's very disappointed in him. He knows that she's moved on, and he just doesn't feel like talking to her right now. So they decide not to call her. They try to call Sadie, but she does not pick up the phone because she thinks it's Aunt Allie. So Aunt Allie comes out. She's like, "What the hell? What the fuck are you doing? You're out of prison already." So I mean, that was kind of funny. Basically, they realize that they're gonna be stuck there for a while. So Jake, in the meantime, he's freaking out because he really has to go to the bathroom in this point. It's kind of funny. And a bunch of tough guys are in Matty and Jake's cell. So, because they have to pass time, Matty actually starts to talk to one of the cellmates. Now, even though this guy is very tough, he very much helped Matty. This really helped Matty a lot, because he asked this guy, what are you in for? He said, I pulled the trigger, and I made some things disappear. And Matty thinks right away, oh my god, holy shit, this guy's a murderer. And this guy starts to talk more about what he's doing and things like that. And it turns out, you know, he asks Matty, what are you in for? And he says, oh, you know, I was adopted and I threw an Escalade off a cliff. And this guy's laughing, saying, man, your parents are spoiled. And, you know, this really makes Matty realize, what the hell am I doing? Like, seriously, he's realizing, what the hell am I doing? Because he's realizing I'm a spoiled brat, and that's all I'm thinking about is, you know, I was arrested because I was a douchebag to a cop. That's literally the most pathetic thing ever, and he's really upset about that. So, obviously, that really makes Matty realize how much of a douchebag he's been, and I love that scene, because now, finally, this whole Matty rebellious thing is over. It's over. He's done with it, and now he's realizing, I need to not be this way anymore. I can't overreact over this, because it's the stupidest thing I've ever done. So, Sadie, out of nowhere, then comes to their rescue, and she asks about Eva, and, you know, my only complaint here is we did not see any of Sadie realizing that Jake and Matty was in trouble. We didn't see that, and it was just kind of, like, sudden. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever. It's times like this when I wish that Awkward was a half an hour series, because, was an hour series, because it would make the show more, you know, efficient and things like that, but whatever. It's still a great show. But basically, she comes to their rescue, and she asks about Eva. She's like, okay, well, Eva was with you, why isn't she here? And Eva in this episode is becoming more and more, you know, sketchy as this episode goes on, to say the least. Like, very sketchy. And definitely Eva is hiding something. We can definitely tell that. And I'll get to Eva when we get to more in the episode. But basically, Sadie wants to help her, and she says that she's going to kill Eva. So definitely in the next few episodes, Sadie is going to get her revenge on Eva. I predicted it. I know she's going to. I'm thinking the season finale is going to end with Sadie trying to ruin Eva's life. Either it's going to... One of two things could happen here. If Sadie tries to, you know, ruin Eva, basically. One of two things could happen. One, she could make her life terrible. Two, she could fail miserably and Eva could win. Eva could win because she just seems like a fucking genius with her plan. I mean, seriously, nobody except Sadie thinks that this girl is bad. Nobody. Nobody thinks that of her right now, except for possibly Jake. And Jake, gets her attention back to their situation and tells her that, Sadie gives them a plan, and she says to admit they're underage, and if the guards give them trouble, she's going on the Los Angeles Times with an expose on how they can do their jobs and wrongfully imprison minors, and that's kind of funny. And he's like, how do you know all this? And she says, Orange is the New Black, and I love that they reference that. I was like, oh my god, they just referenced a show that they're similar to, and that was really funny, so I thought that was great that they referenced Orange is the New Black, because I love that show. I'll admit that right now. I love that show, and there's going to be a review about that later, but... Jake then tells Matty Sadie's plan, and Matty says he doesn't really think it's the best plan, and Jake says he's really annoyed and everything, he really has to go to the bathroom still, and then he finds out that the guy is actually an attorney, and he didn't get in trouble for murdering someone. He got in trouble for, you know, he works in, like, a law firm, and he got in trouble for something like that. So he didn't actually pull any triggers. I thought that was kind of funny, though. Because he's like, excuse me. He's like, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And then they just run away. And that was really funny. And I just thought that was a really funny scene. I overall really enjoyed that scene. Yeah, so that was really funny. And so now that they get out of jail, and before this had happened, Eva went to talk to Jenna about what happened. And she told Jenna everything that was going on, and Jenna says, okay, I know what to do. Maddie's brother apparently is a drug dealer, which is a pretty big thing. I don't think we ever knew that. I'm wondering if we are going to meet Maddie's brother, because she just talked about her. And, you know, Jenna is very concerned about this. And, of course, Eva's talking to, Lacey and Allie, and Valerie, and everything she's telling them sounds like complete bullshit. She's like, oh, my parents are Courtney Cox, and I'm just like, bitch, shut up. We know you're not telling the truth. Obviously, what she's saying is bullshit. It's pretty obvious. You can tell what she's saying is bullshit. And, pretty much she, says that, she admits she bailed because her dad would take away her trust fund if she got in trouble again after a shoplifting stunt last year. That's why she left, which I think is complete bullshit. I think Eva just didn't want to be part of the situation. So instead, you know, Jenna says, okay, well, we will call Maddie's brother and we will get them out. But then when Eva comes to see Maddie, you know, Eva runs up to them, and Jake is pissed off. He's like, what are you doing here? You bailed us out. I want nothing to do with you. And he's really upset. She apologized to Maddie and then lies, claiming that Jenna did not care. She says Jenna did not seem to care at all. She didn't seem like she even wanted to help you. And she says she couldn't help in any way. So Maddie's very hurt by this, and Eva says that, oh, this could, you know, that was a really bad first date, but it could be a congenial visit. So They then go to Eva's car, to Maddie's car, and they make out. You can see that Maddie is now a changed person. He really is back to the Maddie we all know. And him and Eva go back, and they make out. And Eva kind of has this look on her face, kind of like this devious look. And I think what that look is showing is that Eva is going to get even, pretty much now. Eva does not only want to ruin Sadie's life, she wants to now ruin Jenna's life, Tamara's life. She has her own agenda, and I think that's what the ending is trying to show. But that was a really effective ending. I thought that was definitely very well done. I'm really looking forward to that. But before we get to predictions, let's get to the stupidest thing in this episode, which is Tamara's plot. I understand why they did this. I do. I understand why Tamara's trying to get over Jake, and stuff like this can happen. But the way they did it, I thought was really stupid. So, remember that lesbian friend that Luke was talking about? Well, she and Tamara actually talk, and this girl is very much like Tamara, and she says how, Tamara tells her about Jake and everything, and she says, oh, I can relate to that, but I'm done with, she says she's done with guys and everything, and her and Tamara end up making out, and then they have sex. And, that was kind of funny. I mean, I guess that was kind of just for shock factor, but seriously, that is really stupid, personally. I thought that was really stupid. I understand why they did this. Yes, this can happen in real life, that you have a one-night stand with someone because you're upset about a breakup. I understand that. What I don't understand about is the whole, fact of, what I don't understand is, why was this important? Really, why was this important? It did not need to be in this episode, and it was really stupid, because she was trying to, the whole reason that Tamara did this, by the way, is because she was hoping to hook up with a college guy, and none of them worked for her, so joined this girl, and she tells Jenna, I'm not, just because I hooked up with her does not mean I'm a lesbian. She says to her, I'm not like that, it was a one-night stand sort of thing, and she did, but the good thing is Tamara had her first orgasm, so that's a good thing, I guess, because that was something Tamara was, of course, complaining about, so she had her first orgasm, and, yeah, that was pretty much the episode. So overall, and also we got a really funny scene with Aunt Allie and Lacey, because Allie told Lacey that they were talking about how, Tamara told them everything that happened, and she said, and Allie confessed to Lacey that Lacey actually did the same thing, and it wasn't Kevin that she made out with. I thought that was kind of funny. But overall, this episode was still really, really good. Really sets up a lot of stuff for the last final 2 episodes. And yes, we have 2 episodes left of this half of the season. And what do I think is going to happen? Let me get to some predictions. As I said, I do think Sadie is going after Eva. She literally told them that she's going to kill her. Do I think she's actually going to kill her? No, she's not going to she's not going to actually kill her. It's not the kind of show. She will, however, try to get her revenge. She'll do something to humiliate Eva. I think Sadie can see through Eva. I can see through Eva at this point. I don't believe anything that Eva says. Anything that Eva says is complete bullshit to me now. I don't believe anything she says. I've never trusted Eva. I never have. I've tried to sympathize with her, but now I can't, because she completely lied to Maddie. She's out to get Jenna now, and we'll have to see what happens there. As far as Maddie's brother, I do think we are going to meet Maddie's brother. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. We'll have to see what happens. As far as Jenna and Luke, do you think they're going to be successful? I think Jenna really does care about Luke, and they are going to be a very successful couple. We'll have to see what happens there. As far as Tamara goes, what do you guys think? That I thought that was pointless, personally. I just thought that was really, really stupid. But as I said, I do think that Eva is going to basically control Maddie and kind of turn him against everyone. We'll have to see what happens there. Kind of like what Colin did last season. However, Eva does not seem as bad as Colin. She does seem, however, like she's a big bitch, and she just is there to basically manipulate everyone. And that's what she wants to do. She wants to manipulate everyone. And I think the finale is going to be getting even with Eva. Like, Eva's probably going to do something really, really bad to one of the characters in the next episode, and the finale is going to be getting revenge with Eva. I think that's going to happen. Definitely Sadie's going to get revenge. We know that that's going to happen. As far as Jenna, I don't know. We'll have to see. But overall, this episode was really, really good. As I said, yes, it was a little bit filler, especially with the Tamara stuff. I thought that was kind of pointless. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you guys saw of this episode. Again, second best episode of the season. I really like the prison stuff. I thought that was really well done. But that's my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Fargo. So, see you then. Bye.